Life, culture and current events from a biblical perspective. 2020 with Neil Johnson on Vision.
You may have been following some of the developments around Disney. If you're a concerned parent, you're perhaps aware that Disney has been changing and adopting a wokeism incorporating LGBT ideology in so many of its products. It appears there's been a backlash, with the value of Disney stocks plunging billions. Well, let's get an update on a new petition that is out. Greg Bondar is a political commentator at the helm of a new organisation called Christian Voice Australia. Back with us. Greg, welcome back to 2020.
Oh, thank you, Neil. Good to be here again.
Greg, Disney and its change of direction towards wokeism, it's getting under a lot of people's skin.
Oh, look, Neil, we've spoken about this before. I've always predicted that go woke, you'll go broke, and Disney has finally started to realise that they know that, they've always relied on families for the vast majority of their revenue. So what happened was the CEO, Bob Chapek, has been shown the door, and his wokeism is now going under the carpet, because what's happening, Neil, is that the board of directors have decided to reinstate the original CEO, and of course Bob Iger is coming back, or is back now, and hopefully he'll come to realise that following the woke ideology will not go down with families, whether they're in America or Australia or elsewhere around the world.
No guarantees they'll go back to traditional family model, though, is there, Greg? But I imagine that when you've made huge losses, that might be some incentive.
One of the things that we've found out is at Citizen Go is that people are very quick to react to items that affect their children. In point of fact, Citizen Go was saying that children are the key important factor for people signing petitions. So we've got to make sure that families, parents are involved in these sort of issues. So, Neil, Disneyland, it was traditionally, I grew up with Disneyland, so did you probably, Neil, and we loved the show. But it's gone the other way. It's now gone, and Disney is now a hostage to the LGBTIQA ideology, and that's a shame, because what's happening is they're starting to feel the pinch from the average mum and dad in America.
Okay, losing billions, sack the CEO, replace him with the predecessor. This is a time that you're suggesting that the fight is far from over. You have to actually show that parents who are concerned do have a voice, and that's what this Citizen Go petition is all about.
You see, one of the things we've got to realise is that families are now waking up to the fact that the LGBTQI, etc. alphabet agenda does not work. It is affecting their children. Now, Neil, tell me, who wants to see... Now, don't forget, Disneyland is a family-oriented, family values type of organisation. But I don't think families want to see, drag queens. They don't want to see bearded princesses. They don't want to see lesbians kissing. I mean, that's not what they want to see, that want their children to see. And I don't think it's fair on the children as such to have them view this. So what it's really doing, Neil, is indoctrination. The earlier you get the child, the earlier they'll start to think, oh, this must be all natural. Well, it's not natural, Neil. And I think what families are doing now is saying, enough is enough. We want traditional family values to come back. And the petition that Citizen Go is doing is asking families to send this message to Bob Iger and say, hey, enough of the woke stuff that you had under Bob Chapek, and come back to the old family values that Disneyland was known for.
It's very subtle, isn't it? From what I understand, one of their corporate leaders had set out to see 50% of the characters as LGBTQ and other political chosen minorities. That's something of a concern, isn't it, when that is their determined direction? What
happened, Neil, is that the upper echelon of Disney these were people, the production directors, the program managers, or whatever else you have taken on the woke agenda. And what they've done is started to slowly implement LGBTIQA, values, if you want to call them that, and nobody has objected until now, when the price of the stock plummets. Families are now kicking back and saying enough's enough. But more importantly, I think, Neil, what's happening is that, the preaching of gender ideology and sexual orientation of kids does not go down well with families. So we've got to be very careful, because the CEO might have been replaced, but there are still people below the CEO that are very pro-LGBTIQA. And I think we've got to be very careful to let Bob Iger, the new chap, to say, hey, be careful. You don't want to go back to what, Bob Chapek was doing. You want to make sure that you follow the family values that everybody's come to know Disney for.
And they've come into this idea that when you're a big and formerly traditional family company, that you weigh in on political debates. And there's been a bit of friction there with the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis. What was that all about?
Yeah, now that's really interesting, because you see, the Florida governor had a bill that was going to, very, very important bill, saying that schools are not to be teaching left-wing ideology, LGBTIQA values, and they're not to do that in the classroom. So Disneyland took it upon itself under Bob Chapek to say, okay, well, we're going to fight this. And guess what? They lost out to the governor, and they are now suffering the consequences of going ahead and trying to make Disney more woke. But you know what? It's backfired on them, and now they're wearing the consequences of that, as I said, a fall in revenue, a fall in their stock values, a fall in the number of people that listen to them, a fall in the sales of their products. So, Neil, there is signs all around us to say that, people are going back to traditional family values as you and I know them.
Well, now that Disney is in what's described as a clear disarray, and as we were talking, having lost billions in their stock value, this is a time to make your voice known. So give us some insights here into this petition, this Citizen Go petition.
Yeah, this petition is really important. Citizen Go, it's one of the few organisations. Now, Citizen Go is an international Christian-based organisation with traditional values, and it's actually about liberty, it's about freedom, and it really is also, the value of the family, Neil. So, and it's one of the few organisations that is actually a voice for families, and they've been telling organisations like Disney to say, look, get off your political agenda, get off the gender ideology, get off the radical LGBTIQA values, and get back to what people want, and that is good traditional family values. So really what's happening here is that the petition is saying to the new CEO, to Robert Iger, please, Robert, make sure that you don't make the same mistake that Bob Chapek made. Make sure that you bring Disney back to family values, because that's what people are wanting. I've got a granddaughter now, and I've just said to you before, I don't want her watching lesbians kissing. I don't want to see her watching a princess that's got a beard. I don't want her doing that now. I want her to be growing up as a natural young girl that's enjoying Disney because it has family values, not the values of some left-wing ideology.
No doubt Disney's journey to wokeness didn't happen overnight. No doubt it's something that's grown up over these past decades. There may be all sorts of people in place who are having their own way of influencing the woke agenda at Disney. Just because there's a change of CEOs, no guarantee there'll be change. What are your thoughts for the type of change that needs to happen, perhaps not only in Disney, but there's all of those other companies that are just a little bit like Disney, perhaps not as big, but following the same path?
Oh, no, you've hit on a really good point here, because you see what's happening at Disney is you've got a new CEO. The petition is saying, hey, we want you to go back to family values and, go back to traditional values that the average mum and dad can identify with. And that's what's happening at Twitter, Neil, the same sort of thing. Elon Musk, whether you love him or hate him or otherwise, the point is he's really cleaning out the cupboard. He's saying to all those left-wing Twitters and what have you to get out. We're going to change it. We're not going to have you dictating to the average mum and dad out there your woke ideology. And it's happening there as well. So one of the things we've got to be careful of is that, an organisation is made from, is identified by the CEO all the way down and from the gardener right up to the CEO again. So what we've got to make sure is that the CEO knows what's happening below him or her to make sure that that the staff are following a traditional family values type ideology, not the left-wing ideology. So staff are very important, and Elon Musk has identified that, as Disney has to do as well.
Well, here's the website, citizengo.org. For listeners who want to sign this petition, you might be concerned as a parent about the values that have been expressed in Disney, and you don't get an opportunity like this just every day, so it might be worth jotting down the website, citizengo.org, and it's an international website. You can click on Australia and you'll be able to find this petition all about Disney. Greg Bondar is political commentator. He's the founder of a new organisation called Christian Voice Australia. And thanks for drawing our attention to this Disney issue, Greg, and for being with us once again today on 2020.
Thank you, Neil, for the opportunity, and God bless.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.